Welcome back to Wandering to Wellness, guys. Hello from us and hello from Eliane Zimmerman, who is fast becoming our resident aromatherapy expert.
Very exciting.
It's very exciting. We made contact with Eliane through a very good friend of mine, Benoit Nicole, who sells the Nature of Things essential oils. And we were essentially seeking to do a bunch of podcasts that would help you guys to have a better grasp of ways you can use essential oils in a kind of a toolkit based format, so that you know, everybody has bits and bobs of essential oils around their house. They sort of have a vague knowledge of how to use them and what to do with them, but we thought it would be a great way to present it in a format that you guys would have really good takeaways. So the first one is really all about immunity. And so Eliane, we've asked to come on because she is an authority on the topic of essential oils. This lady has been studying and working with essential oils for more than 3 decades now. She studied and did her diploma with Shirley Price. She's written like 8 books on the topics of aromatherapy, all of them unfortunately in German, Japanese, Hungarian, none in English yet, but we need to get onto that. So Eliane, I guess the first thing we want to get onto with you is can you tell us about, is there any evidence of the efficacy of essential oils in relation to fighting viral and bacterial infections?
There is a lot of evidence, actually, more for bacteria and less for viruses. And if viruses, I was even talking quite often to a German professor from University Heidelberg who did a lot of research on viruses, but he did mainly like herpes, like lip sores and stuff like that. And there is a lot of evidence. And what's really funny, and I think that's really good news, this current virus, the coronavirus we are affected now by, is an enveloped virus. So there are lots of different viruses, like lots of different bacteria too. And like we humans, they have different properties and different characters. And this one currently is an enveloped virus. And first it sounds like it protects itself. No, it's very delicate because of its envelope. And the envelope, it's extremely sensitive to solvents, to certain solvents. And one of them is, what did we hear? Hand washing. So it hates soap. And what's even cheaper is taking dishwashing soap. That's even better, because some of those dishwashing things, they are really extremely fat. They wash the fat of our dishes, obviously, but it can really dissolve the envelope of this current virus extremely well. So if you have no soap by hand, just take a little bit of dishwashing stuff and, of course, wash it thoroughly. And
Amazing.
even try to wash around your fingers and so on. If you add a little bit of essential oil, we will talk about this later, it's even better. And it's very delicate towards alcohol. So that's why our disinfectants are 80% alcohol. In Austria, you can buy a drink like a brandy of 80% alcohol. You could just use it like that. The normal vodka wouldn't do it. It's only 40%.
Interesting.
And
so are there actual studies using essential oils with coronavirus? Have any of them been done?
Yes, it's starting. It's starting, and that's the third good news. Essential oils are like solvents, so most of the essential oils. And so they would affect the envelope as well. And one of the, I wrote about this special study in February. I found it against the SARS-CoV-1, so the cousin of the current virus. It hates laurel. Oh. Lots of us may even have bay laurel in their garden. It's such a lovely plant. It's a lovely plant to cook with. So this would be one of my favorite oils. It's quite a heavy smell, so very spicy smell. And it's very nice to combine it with those lemon-like oils. So there are a few, I wouldn't say really extremely serious studies, so they are still starting to look around. But aldehydes, that's components which smell either very spicy, like in cinnamon, or they smell, which is better for our skin, very lemony, which would be lemongrass and lemon eucalypt and the likes. Lydsea has a different English name. So Lydsea would be the scientific name. And I don't remember the English name. It's a very cheap oil, which smells very, very, Meichang. It's a Meichang, yeah. It's very cheap. It smells very nice. Most people love it. And some people are reluctant to buy it because, what a funny Chinese name, but it's lovely. And in Dublin Botanical Garden, there is even one of those trees at the very entrance.
Oh, really? Yes. Well, so I actually yesterday in work put Mei Chang on my mask
Oh,
when
good.
I was,
Perfect.
when I was using a mask. So tell me, is that a good idea? Like, so if we're, let's say, take hospital workers as an example, should they be using these essential oils like in contact, like on their mask, or like how can they put it into their environment to make the best use of it?
Yeah, so as I said, in most essential oils are like solvents. They are perfume, they are cosmetics, some are even edible in teeny tiny amounts, because we have fragments of essential oils in some food like tomatoes or peaches or so. But of course, that's just molecules, that not drops. So I would say wear or put one drop on your mask the evening before you wear the mask, so you don't have the full load the day you wear the mask. First, to kill whatever might be on your mask if you don't have a mask which you dump, or if you are in an environment like a bus, a train, or a full shop, well, it's not permitted anymore, but kind of foolish. If you ever are afraid to meet too many people in one place, I would surround myself with one of those oils, which could be laurel or one of those very citrony oils. I love those inhalators. You can buy
Yeah.
them cheaply and more expensive, like this one made of glass. They have those little holes in here,
Yeah.
and they have this little roll,
You did a little cotton
cotton
swab.
roll in it, yeah. And
Yeah.
here it's closed, I cannot open it anymore. And it's open around here and it's open here. And I like, when I feel kind of uncomfortable, maybe after coming from a shop in my car, I might have a deep inhalation with this device. I have different ones with different fragrances. So I think that's the area which comes into contact with the virus first. So always, not this current, only this current virus. And so I think it's quite important to kind of keep this area and the mouth kind of healthy, and so don't destroy the mucous membranes by those solvents, not by constantly using those solvents.
Because that's also how the virus takes hold, right? When the mucous membrane is broken down, that allows the virus to take hold in the cavities.
And I think most people underestimate the care for this mucous membrane. So I have been doing that since one of those first epidemics. I don't know, was it the aviary flu or one of those swine flus or whatever. I started having a very diluted, well diluted essential oil in. I usually use either olive oil or St. John's wort oil, which is slightly antiviral as well. So I take 10 ml. You can buy those empty bottles. I suppose in most places, 10 ml of olive oil, then just add 2 drops of essential oil, because that's a very delicate area. For children, I would even use only 1 drop. And maybe add for grown-ups, add 1 drop of Mei Chang and 1 drop of either eucalyptus or ravensara, or my favorite would be the bay laurel. So just one of the stronger ones. And Mei Chang has to be fresh. We will talk at another time about the freshness. So some oils, they can become skin irritants when they are too old, and Mei Chang would be one of them. So use it really fresh. If we have it for ages in your kitchen or whatever, don't use it in your nose. Yes.
Okay.
And this would be a good protection. It's also a mechanical protection, because those viruses and even some bacteria, they hate this greasy area. They wouldn't be able to go through it easily. They would, of course, but not easily. If there is just 1, 2, 3 viruses flying around, it might be a fantastic protection under your mask to really soothe and nourish your mucosa.
Okay, cool.
And so do you, when you're talking about putting it on, are you talking about putting it on like the tip of your nose, or putting it up the inside of your nose? Where specifically?
I like to use my little finger, or even one of those swabs, and just insert a little bit at the entrance. It depends on your sensitivity. It could even be here, but I think it should be kind of around the entrance gates, and the tip might be too far. But you have to feel comfortable with it. And I think it's always very important to really also imagine and be grateful and think, look, dear nose, I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to close the door for any bad guy flying around. And I think this imagination and your power of will is willpower is very important to shelter yourself as well.
Well, I think people like Wim Hof particularly have shown the power of intention and its ability to actually fight viruses and fight bacteria in our system. We know that if that aspect is there, but on a like, so there's the idea of actually fighting a virus, but there's also the emotional aspect, right, as well. So when it comes to our immune system, it's always harmed and depleted by stress. What would you suggest for people who are working in maybe more stressful situations, like in hospitals or in shops or busy places, to reduce the sensation of stress? Are oils useful in that situation as well?
Oh yes, there are lots of oils. We are lucky enough to have loads of oils which contain the so-called esters. And the esters are molecules in lots of essential oils, like the well-known lavender, or like bergamot mint, or I use a lot of bergamot. I have an Italian from southern Italy, a bergamot oil, fantastic. And all those oils, they contain a teeny tiny amount of a very complicated molecule with a very complicated name. And this is very, it almost works like a medication against depression. And if you inhale it really, really deeply, you get it into your system. And funny enough, there is only a very, very small barrier between the top of your nose and your brain. So when you're inhaling, lots of it doesn't get as a molecule into your brain, but the molecule is being translated as information. And especially the components of lemon, orange, bergamot, mandarin, lime, all those citrus oils, they they transform, or they manipulate maybe your serotonin, your GABA is one of those neurotransmitters which are affected by lavender, for example, very, very well studied. And I think for the emotional support, it's very important to use oils which you really like. So have a sniff with bergamot, or have a sniff at lemon, or have a sniff at fresh orange oil, because mandarin, tangerine oil and orange oil, they get similar to rancid very fast. Could be half a year after opening, they smell bad, and then they don't support you really well.
And so is there a difference if you're talking about it in terms of emotional support, and you're saying like it needs to get really deep in there? A lot of people are using essential oils on burners or diffusers or things like that around the home. Is that not enough then? Do they need to be getting it directly into the nose somehow?
No, it can be enough, but I just imagine somebody going to town, or especially a big city like Dublin, and spending a few hours in Dublin, and there will be stress, even if you don't notice. You'll see all those masked people. You'll see people kind of like, stay away from me. It causes stress. And I think in that very moment, you should really have maybe a 30-second sniff again to reload it. That's what I do. Of course, inhaling it at home is better than nothing.
And so schools are back here now, and what can we be doing to support the littlest members of our community? It's coming into cold and flu season. They're all in school, and they've been at home until now, and suddenly now they're around all the little kids, all the bugs and germs. What can we be doing for them? What's a safe way to support them as they go into school, and also when they come back from school at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a very delicate topic, because you cannot use all essential oils with children. You have to dilute them properly. So again, this kind of device, it could as well be one of our little brown flasks, which we have for essential oils anyway, and have a little bit of a cotton ball or whatever inserted in it, and have one drop, for example, lemon. Lemon is it's very good for focus and concentration. Maybe one of those more gentle eucalyptus, not Eucalyptus globulus, maybe one which would be more gentle would be Eucalyptus smithii or Eucalyptus radiata. Maybe one drop of this and one lemon, let's say lemon. Lots of children prefer maybe mandarin or tangerine. One drop each, and then tell them whenever you feel stressed or you feel bullied or whatever, you get complaints from the teacher and more distance or whatever, it's each of those seconds is stressful for those poor kids. They should have a sniff. It could be a discreet sniff, maybe even on the toilet, so they don't need to show because they might be bullied. And one oil which is particularly fantastic for children is a weed which grows abundantly here in Ireland. We wouldn't have it on the continent. That's Roman chamomile. It's quite expensive, but you need maximum 1 drop. You could even try to get half a drop into it, and it mixes so well with tangerine. It smells fantastic. It smells like some gummy bears, like some candy, whatever, some sweets. If you use a bit, otherwise it could smell quite bitter. And that's a very good emotional support, which works extremely well. So it could be a trick to do it discreetly.
So I have a son who's 6 and he's in school, and because of Corona, there's a lot of restrictions on what they can bring in and what they can bring out to school. So I'm not sure whether he would be allowed to bring in one of those things. Would it be enough to put the drops on his sleeve and then he could smell his sleeve, or would that dilute? That would be an okay way, because I think
tissue, paper tissue, which he could have between his pencil case or whatever, so it doesn't need to be seen or to be smelled. That's an inordinary tissue. It could be just a normal tissue. That's what I did in planes when liquids were forbidden. I said I cannot fly without my essential oil, because I used to have sinus issues, and so I had just a little bit of eucalyptus on my tissue, and nobody could hinder me from using a tissue, so that's fine.
And can I ask one last question? So all kids in school are all carrying hand sanitizer with them, and they're having to use these high alcohol hand sanitizers all day long on their delicate little skin. Are there roles to essential oils can play in helping to protect the skin? Are there rituals people could do with their little kid with their hands in the evenings, or what could they do?
Yeah, but this would be more a job for fixed oils, like olive oil or shea butter would be great. And especially if they use it in the evening. I like benzoin for this. Benzoin is very skin healing. It's not an essential oil, it's a resinoid, so it's just a diluted resin. It's a bit sticky. But if you mix 1 drop of benzoin with maybe a big spoon of shea butter or maybe of olive oil, and just use a few drops of the mix each evening as a ritual, because benzoin is also very soothing for the upset mind and might help sleeping. Maybe teeny tiny bit of lavender, but I think the best repairing properties would come from fixed oils like olive oil. And I would really use, in this case, I would really use organic fats, because fats attract all those toxins which are used for the plants, and they really accumulate in any kind of fat. So I would really use a very high quality olive oil, or even an almond oil or whatever oil, and make a little ritual with your kid. Maybe even singing a little bit, or telling let's wipe the virus away and let's go into a nice dreamland. And somebody bullied you, you can really evaporate this energy, or whatever. Rituals are very important. It could be just 30 seconds or maybe 1 minute. But really take the time to go through the day with your child, and at the same time really restore the poor little skin, poor little hands.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Eliane, that was brilliant.
Amazing.
And
thank you very much.
Forward to getting you back on again. And I think we've already got about 5 or 6 topics lined up to talk about in separate podcasts. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on. And I think this is going to be very, very helpful for everyone. And we'll add in the footnotes what those different combinations were for all the different specific things.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and looking forward to more podcasts. Thank you.
It's a treat. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
Cheers.
you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.